All right, our next question is this. By the way, if you have questions in the audience, make sure you get them back to the table by the front door. Fellow can wave hand at me. There we go. Follow the waving hand. If you have any questions, we can still get you in here. So, in election after election, we continue to lose in the inner cities. Well, let's be honest, we get curb stomped in the inner cities. How do you plan to win enough votes in the inner cities to start to move the needle? We'll start with Senator Benson.
Thank you. Well, we can talk about the suburbs too. In the last election, suburbs turned to Biden, and we need to bring them back. But after the riots and the shutdowns of our school, there are more people in our core cities who are done. They are fed up. They are tired of being taken for granted by Democrats. So let's go in and listen to them. Be where they're at. Understand what happened to their lives and what they want, what their dreams are. Not me saying this is how you should live and this is what my experience is, so do it my way. It should be listening to them, earning their trust, and bringing them to the Republican Party. We should make our party a home where if you work hard, you have a dream, you feel welcomed and embraced. But it can't be us telling them. It has to be about bringing us together. And this is the year to do it.
Senator Jensen.
We have to go there. We have to lead with a question, not an answer. We need to understand better. I don't think that we can craft a strategy to effectively change things in the inner city or even in the suburbs if we do it in a vacuum. I think it's got to be at least a three-pronged approach. I think we need to realize, as Lacey Johnson said earlier, there's a certain stigma that the Republican Party carries, and that is that it's a party of old white guys. We need to break that down. We need to do it, as I said, in a three-pronged effort. We need to go to the communities of color all over the Twin Cities and any other urban area in Minnesota. And we need to try to understand and ask them to help us understand what really would make an impact on them. But we also, in the same vein, we have to demonstrate that we want the millennials, who right now are 25 to 40 years of age, this is their time. We want the millennials and the Gen Zs to have a seat at the table. We haven't solved a lot of problems. We've kicked the can down the road. The professional political class hasn't really been getting us anywhere we wanted to go. And I think we have to do a better job of dealing with engaged women. I think the Republican Party at times has been dismissive. We cannot do that. I think those three critical steps, being there with communities of culture, doing a better job of respecting women all over across Minnesota, and inviting the millennials and the Gen Zs to a seat at the table without talking down to them. Then we can go to the farmers and ask them how the liberal agenda has worked out. There's been no effort to help farmers keep their family farms in the family. There's been property theft at the buffer zones. There's been no serious effort to try to allow smaller communities in greater Minnesota to be able to compete with the urban areas. I think when we do these, I think that's when we find that we have a path to victory. Thank you.
Mayor Murphy.
Great question. Why wait? I'm already there. I was helping out with Laverne Turner, who was running for mayor of Minneapolis. He lost his election, took fifth, but he's the only black Republican that was on the ballot. Actually, I'll tell you guys right now, we are going to be announcing it in tomorrow's press release that he's joining my campaign as Community Outreach Director of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. I'm already doing it. I already have over 100 people that are going to be recruited to join my campaign at youth levels in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're already doing the outreach. We're already there. We're already building an army of volunteers in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I'm planning already going all the way to November. I don't care about the nomination or the primary in between because I have a plan. If we don't start now, those people in those communities are just going to think we're a joke when we show up, and we just need them at the right time. We need them now, and we need to let them know that we care, and I genuinely do care. I spent a lot of time in Minneapolis when I was a kid growing up. I lived there. I understand the community. I have friends and family that live there. And we're going to recruit that big army in the Minneapolis area, Twin Cities area, St. Paul area, and the surrounding suburbs, Brooklyn Park, Wilkin Center, and that's how we're going to win that vote. Community outreach and letting people know that Republicans do care, conservatives do care. We're not mean people. We're not racist. We're not bigots. We want everybody to have freedom, and we want everybody to be prosperous.
Dr. Schott.
You guys are a little far away. I'm going to get a photo here of something you'll never see again. This is a vote Be He for Ward 6, a wed for mayor, and then right there, save soda. That's me at the end. Okay, this is my barbershop, and it's in Cedar Riverside. I've been going there for a long time. Actually, my old barbershop, Tim Walsh tried to burn it down. It was across from the 3rd Precinct. It did not burn down, even though he tried to. And over the last 13 years getting my hair cut in the city, I had a lot of conversations. This last week, it was with a guy who owns this shop, who's a naturalized U.S. citizen from East Africa, and we talked mostly about cryptocurrency, and he was real mad about what the IRS wants to do with crypto. The fact is, we have to get into these communities and have conversations over a long period of time. We need to have a 10, 15, 20-year approach to outreach. Why don't we have more candidates of color from the city? Why don't we have a better outreach program? How can we improve that? The messenger matters. The message matters. Our message is opportunity. The Democrats give you some free stuff and they put a ceiling on there, and in the meantime they teach your kids in school that boys can be girls. None of that flies with the Somali community. I got buttonholed 4 weeks ago. The guy who owns the shop was real mad when his 6-year-old daughter came home and said, they told my 6-year-old daughter that boys can be girls. What are you going to do about this? And I said, well, I'm going to do something as soon as your people start voting right. We have to have honest conversations. We can't run away from it. We have to get in there and we have to win. I'll leave you with one last thing about how we get this done. You have to show up week after week. Mike Huckabee, former governor in Arkansas, first time he showed up to a black church, he got chucked right out. He kept showing up week after week. And a decade later, he got almost 50% of the black vote, the most Republicans ever got. We can do it, but we got to start showing up.
Mr. Marty.
We have to go there. There's no question about it. But what do we go there with? We have to go there with a strong conservative message, because that's how people live in this state. People go home, they balance their checkbooks, they take care of their kids, they raise their family. That's a conservative message that they're looking for. They don't want a handout. When you give somebody a handout, you steal their dignity. That's not what they want. They want an opportunity. They want their children to succeed. That's what they're looking for. And if we go there with that message, we will make big gains in the inner city.
Senator Gazelka.
You know, I've been reaching out to a number of the minority communities for over 5 years. It wasn't, frankly, because I wanted to run for governor. It's because if we don't change what's happening in Minneapolis and St. Paul, we're not going to be the great state that we were meant to be. And so, whether it's Johnson from the India community out in Plymouth, or Thomas and Shia from the Hmong community, or a black pastor that I met, I don't want to use his name, but I started visiting him over the last 5 years. That's how we build the relationships. It's all about relationships. So if they come now as a governor candidate, it's a little late. I want to tell you that the black pastor that I met, big church, wanting to know what we're going to do about this police accountability. We talked about all the issues because I had to pass some police accountability measures while defending the police. And after about the 3rd visit, he said to me, you know what? You're the first Republican leader in my church in 25 years. And then he said, the Democrats have been promising the same thing for 25 years and they haven't done a thing. He had a card showing that. And so I said, what can I do to make a difference? He said, help us find jobs. So it's not always a government solution. And so because I've been building relationships with the blue-collar unions, I linked one of those leaders with this pastor to form a pipeline of jobs that they could have right away that could be up to 6-figure income. That's building relationships. Victor from the Latino, he's a pastor in the Latino church down there. He called me up when there was chaos everywhere. They had to band together 100 of their folks, arm them, and protect some of the businesses and the blocks because there weren't enough police around. We had a relationship so that we can talk about what's actually happening. That's how we reach Minneapolis. That's how I'm going to reach Minneapolis.